The Timeshift.
Hello and welcome, I'm Chris Hall and this is The Timeshift, my sci-fi fun fest, and today I'm talking about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Series 2, Episode 2, entitled Heavy is the Head. Now, it's great to have you with me here for another exciting edition of the show. As always, if you have any comments, anything you'd like to raise, any questions you'd like to ask me, just leave them in the comment section below. Really is that easy, really is that simple. Now, needless to say, because this is like a review kind of a thing, this little video is going to be spoiler heavy. So if you don't want this episode spoiled for you for whatever reason, it's probably best to turn off the video now. Okay, everybody ready? Everybody geared up? Let us go head first into Heavy is the Head. Okay, something that I can definitely say in this episode's favour is that it's just as thrilling the second time watching it as it is the first. Of course, that may be an incredible personal point given that I hadn't seen the first episode before it. I saw the first episode second and the second episode first, and already I'm starting to get confused by the whole mathematical probabilities of it all. But needless to say, the first time I watched the second episode, I was bloody confused because I didn't understand what was going on. I naively thought I'd be okay, that I could just casually swagger back into the world of S.H.I.E.L.D., that I could just watch this second episode without any issues and any problems whatsoever. Boy, was I wrong. And of course I was slightly misled by the last time on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. pre-ramble bit, because it made it look as if less was going on than there actually was. At least we forget this episode starts with 3 people in an overturned truck. So yeah, you know, false advertising there, editors. Maybe you should have done something about that so that viewers like me who are tuning in late could have had a bit more of a warning. Now, one of the things that I can say that is a bit 50-50 is that this is definitely a thrilling, action-packed episode. So much so that on 4OD they have the little warning label which says adrenaline-fueled action, you know, in a similar kind of way that you might have for, say, scenes of violence or scenes of a distressing nature or flashing images, which I just find utterly bizarre in some regards. Are we really in this world now where people have to be warned about adrenaline-fueled action? I mean, are there some people out there that just want their action to be slow and sedate? Answers in the comment section, please. Now, the reason why it's both a positive and a negative is because, as a positive, it means that we're constantly entertained, that we've got a nice, brisk pace that is maintained throughout. There's no real lull points, bar one. I'll talk about that in a moment. But the reason why it's a downside is that if you're like me and you've only just started watching it, is that it's still the same momentum as it was from the previous episode. So you are treading water, you're frantically trying to keep up to speed with everyone else as it clips along at a bloody quick pace. It's like being on a treadmill and you accidentally put it up a little bit too far and your legs are just dangling down trying to make some kind of traction. Which did annoy me the first time around. This time around not so much, but it might be because I watched the 2 episodes in close proximity to one another. And of course, like I say, it was annoying first time watching it because you had no time to breathe. There was no explanation point. There was no point saying, right, remember guys, we have to find him because he's got the MacGuffin and we need to find that. Otherwise, shit's gonna get real. We don't have that, which is a case of we have to find the Gifted to get the obelisk back so that we can analyse the obelisk because the Gifted is going around, or the Gifted, oh look, it's Hydra, oh my god, it's the woman in the flower dress, oh no, there's intrigue and sabotage and all kinds of things that confuse me to no end. And the point I should point out before I forget it, the point in which it just kind of went in terms of pace and speed, is when we have the little somber moment for the mercenaries in which Skye is going through the dead mercenary stuff and Mr. Hunter comes along and goes, oh, you really remind me of her daughter, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said. To be honest, it is kind of like Charlie Brown whenever the parents speak. Whenever Mr. Hunter speaks, the majority of what I hear is just which says leaps and bounds about his performance. generally. And I think, as spoiler alert, he kind of gives you an angle of where I'm going to be attacking him from in the performance section shortly. Now, the reason why that scene kind of irks me ever so slightly is given just how little development we had towards those characters in the first place. That being woman mercenary and other man mercenary, which I think says leaps and bounds about the character development, which is the problem. I hate in film and TV and theatre productions in which we have characters that are killed off almost as soon as they're introduced, and we're supposed to feel sad and glum about it, when their death holds absolutely no impact for us. Had it been, for argument's sake, Fitz or Triplet, then maybe we'd get something out of it. But it's not, it's just two generic borderline red shirt characters getting killed off, and there's absolutely no feels from me whatsoever. Of course, you yourself may have found it a very tear-jerky moment. I myself, no. And of course, in the subject of Mr. Hunter, before we actually talk about him performatively, in terms of writing, in terms of the writing side of things, I really want to like him because he's snide, sarcastic, and self-important, which are features that are oddly familiar to me, but I'll get onto this, like I say, in performance, but I'm not entirely sure whether the reason I don't like him is because of bad writing about bad performance. I'm not entirely sure. And on the subject of, well, not really bad writing, it's just that this episode does have jokes in it. There is a bit of levity and humour, and we made a cultural reference there, kind of bit, but because we are in glum, sad time, S.H.I.E.L.D, Creek, S.H.I.E.L.D, it's kind of delivered with such utter dry bitterness that it just kind of feels a little bit awkward. It lacks the zing, it lacks the pop that the jokes previously have had. And like I say, we don't have Fitz and Simmons anymore, so we can't have the banter between the two of them anymore. So it is just sad days are here again. But, and I'll look at my notes for 1 minute just to remind me, one of the things on the subject of Fitz and Simmons is, like I said last time, I do enjoy the whole angle with Fitz and Simmons, with Simmons being imaginary, even though the actress is still in there, even though I thought she had left it because she said that she had left it, and I think she's going to be back next week, so it's just going to get even more confusing for me. The little subplot between Fitz and Mac, who is the mechanic who I didn't know the name of last time. Who'd have thought it? A mechanic named Mac. Just take the Anik off and you've just kind of got his name. A little relationship there building together. I think it's sweet, it's cute, to a certain degree, which makes it sound as if it's... No, I shan't even go there. But I like it, and the fact I actually know Mac's name now because he actually seems to be doing something is great. But one of the things I kind of find odd about Mac is that he does look like a mechanic in every way, shape, or the form. It looks like he should be in the pub, just if he's had a long day doing mechanic-y stuff, still a little bit oiled up because he's just literally walked out, kind of like on Coronation Street. He's just gone from Webster's carriage over to the Rover's Return. He's having a pint, and there's a gifted bursting in, and they've knocked the hot pots over or whatever. And it does kind of weird me out because he knows science. He's a mechanic who knows science. Where does S.H.I.E.L.D. find these people? Do they go on Monster or LinkedIn or something like that? And speaking of but more, is that this episode is the one that had the moment for me, which is the moment which kind of freaked me out a little bit, which is in the cafe when the waitress is just dealing with the gifted lunch arrangements, and she ends up turning to stone. Oh God, that was bleak. Oh God. You see, here's the thing, like adrenaline-fueled action this episode has. It didn't warn me at the fact that it's going to have a moment that's going to make me go, with discernible grief. Even watching it the second time round, I'm watching it going, Even watching the bad guy get turned to stone, I'm watching it like, Still, despite those odd niggles here and there, I did enjoy the episode. It's just that the problems with it are just problems that, in the grand scheme of things, will just be dealt with as we go along. I don't think we'll have to worry about characters just being introduced, being killed off again, because I honestly can't see them wasting the time introducing a character just to kill them off again. And the whole stuff with Hunter, I'll probably discover over the next couple of weeks whether it is just bad performance or bad writing. But speaking of performance, let us toddle in ever so slightly and ever so cautiously into the side of performance. Okay, so picking up pretty much where I left off. Hunter is a character that I really, really want to like. I like the kind of snide sarcasm that he has, but the lines that he's delivering, it's either he is delivering him in such a flat, humourless, characterless way, or the lines themselves are just plain crap. I mean, there's the moment where he's getting lifted out of the unmarked car and dumped in a field, and he says, the first thing that he says is something like, "Oh, give me 5 minutes more," or something like that, which, yeah, okay, they failed miserably to deliver it, but yeah, it was well written. And then the follow-up to that is, "Oh, I was going to ask you for a glass of water." What? You've just been knocked unconscious. I can kind of get the first one about 5 minutes more, wanting 5 more minutes in bed. I don't get the water one. Is that like a reference to little kids saying, "Daddy, I want a glass of water," or something like that? I honestly don't get it at all. And any subsequent joke that we have, just nothing. When I think of snide, sarcastic action characters, I think of Bruce Willis in Die Hard. And whilst that is a fairly lofty bar, it doesn't really take much to do it. So long as the lines are delivered with a little bit of pep, a little bit of zing, a little bit of a jokiness to them, we can understand it. Even if themselves are poorly written, we can enjoy them. It's the old thing of that Groucho Marx, if you wanted to, could read you the phone book and you'd find it hilarious. Here it's like he really is reading us the phone book, and I'm not finding it at all hilarious. Once again, I may well grow to like him. I hope I grow to like him, because I can see him being here for the duration. So if I don't like him, I'm either going to have to fast forward every scene that he's in, or just grow to tolerate him. I mean, tolerating bad characters in TV shows doesn't really work. Blimey, Charlie. And the lady in the flower dress is back this week. I don't know her name, and I'll just forever now refer to as the lady in the flower dress, or the woman in the flower dress, or variants thereon. I've got to say here and now, I hate her character. I hate her guts. I despise her in every way. I so hope that something nasty and horrible happens to her. Which is great, because she's a bad guy. I know it's kind of weird. Every time I see her on screen, I want something bad to happen for her. I want a ceiling tile to land on her head. I want Iron Man to just come in and vaporise her. Which makes sense, because she's supposed to be the bad guy and you're supposed to hate her. But on a side note, one of the things I do genuinely dislike about her in terms of performance is that she's a little bit too airy-fairy. Everything she kind of does is a little bit like this. "I could help you reach your full potential if you come work with me and the people I work with. We could help you become something more." But even when she was interfering with the obelisk, she was afraid that she was going to get turned to stone. She still does it in an airy-fairy way, like... And then... I know, I apologise for the crap the crap performance there, but that's how it looks to me. I hate her character, I hate her guts, but one of the things that genuinely annoys about it is that she has the airy-fairiness to her, which she doesn't need, and I'm fairly certain that never was the case when she first was introduced to it. When she was first introduced to it, she was just a little bit quirky, a little bit weird, but now it just kind of feels borderline panto, which then, if it gets any worse, it's a case of, I hate her guts as a character, but I'm not that keen of her as a performer. And I hope that's not the case, because I want to keep hating her, but hating her for the right reasons. And as I said, this is a kind of a minor note when I'm talking about performance. Coulson's in this episode, which may have seemed like an odd statement, but compare it to last week's episode, or rather the previous episode, seeing as I didn't watch it last week. Coulson's in this episode. He was kind of in it last time, but this time he's actually in it. This time he actually does stuff, which I'm glad of. Seeing as his whole carving stuff into the wall thing is going to be a key plot point for this series. So the fact that we haven't seen much of him thus far has been a bit, dearie me, the character that everyone loves, and we're not seeing that much of him, and instead we've got generic mercenaries and annoying Mr. Hunter. Of course, it was in it this week. He did something reckless and stupid, but, you know, that's why we love him. But it does kind of worry me that, but the fact that he is the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. now means we're not going to see him out on the streets, as it were, as frequently as he really should be. And if he is, then you kind of go, well, what's the point in him being the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. if he's still doing agent stuff? Whatever. I should just be glad that he's doing stuff. Like I say, he was in it last week, but not as much. And it just may be the fact that we had so many bloody characters with him, and it wasn't time for him. Maybe Relativity, he was just there more frequently than I remember. But he did very little. Maybe he made a joke about a George Foreman grill at some point. That's the only outstanding contribution that I can really think that he might have done in the first episode. Though that might have been in this one. Which, once again, the humour... We need humour. We need levity. We need jokes. Nasty, bad things are happening in this show. We need some levity. Otherwise, I'm just going to go nuts with depression. Which I don't want to do because I get that enough as is. Oh, blimey, are there any other characters that he'd immediately talk about? I don't think so, because otherwise we're just going to talk about how I enjoy Fitz's little dilemma. Sky's in it. She was in it even less than bloody Coulson was last time, and now she's kind of in it a little bit more. Two of your key characters, two of the biggest characters that you have in this entire thing, two of the most important characters that you have to this series, I was seeing comparatively very little of them, which may be the fact that we don't really have anywhere else to go with Sky's character bar revealing who her father is and where she really came from, because she's gone from the stupid hacker character to being an agent, so her character arc is more or less sorted. We need to find out who her father is, and we see her father at the end of the episode, whereas previously we only saw the silhouette of him looking rather blood-stained, but now he just kind of looks a little bit like a bargain basement Willem Dafoe in a weird kind of way. Everyone else bar that was enjoyable, I have to say. I know I may come across as I'm being very negative about this week's episode. I don't mean it, because I enjoyed it. I honestly did. Here's the overview to prove that fact. Okay, so as I kind of did in the previous link, time for the actual overview. I did enjoy this week's episode. I enjoyed it immensely. There was the odd problem here and there, but it's a perfectly fine follow-up to the previous week's episode. It was great. It was good. There was the odd problem here and there, but most of it is personal annoyances from me. Yourself probably won't get the same kind of factor from certain parts of it, and certainly may not get the factor from a certain part of it. The only problems that there are with it, like I say, are personal irks of mine, little pet hates within fiction. And they are stuff which in reality won't be about much longer. And of course the whole stuff with Mr. Hunter is stuff that we can grow and develop, and just maybe I may well in time come to like him. I want to like him, god damn it. It's just making it very bloody difficult for me to do so. But whatever, that doesn't matter. We shall look forward to tomorrow/tonight's episode, depending on when I upload this, in which Simmons is actually properly back. She's no longer a figment of Fitz's imagination. She's actually about, and from the little preview clip I've seen, she's in deep with Hydra. Either she's joined them or she's a captive, I don't honestly know. Given the fact everyone's going, oh yeah, she's abandoned us, makes me suggest as though to suggest that she has joined them. So no wonder Fitz is so fucked up. But whatever, I shall watch it, I shall do my little thing of it, and the world's your lobster. I honestly don't know what else to say. So it's probably a good time for me just to turn around and say thank you for watching. If you have anything you'd like to say, any questions, any queries, any points of discussion that you'd like to raise for a future episode, leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.